I didn't go to the group, but I sent a client to the group. And my client got well really quick. And so I later said, I want to learn what you did. And there was this group was kind of a pilot program, and she was going to start it up again. And I said, well, I want to come because I want to learn. She said, great, I'm going to be gone in 3 weeks, and you can
take over.
You can take over. And when we first started, we had a notebook, and we were taking notes, and we were writing things down, and it was all women. What time did we meet? Seven
very early in the morning.
7 o'clock in the morning, because
people had to go to work and so on and so on.
Yeah. And then a man showed up and flipped our world. Because women had been abused by men, and we were talking about the abuse, and then a man came in to talk about the abuse that he had gone through and been abused by women, and
which is the truth.
So it began to change how we perceived and we experienced and we healed. Only because of God. Then people began to show up who had really serious abuse issues and who had been abusers, severe abusers, sexual offenders, a lot of domestic violence, pastors who had sex addictions and religious addictions.
The whole gamut.
Yeah. And when you're working with an offender, one of the things that they're supposed to work on is victim empathy. Victim empathy. And to this day, I say there's no better way to do victim empathy than to sit in an abuse group.
And keep the two groups together.
We had the offenders and the victims. And tremendous healing that took place because as you sat and you listened every week to the things that both sides were going through, struggling with, there was never an offender that wasn't a victim. Maybe not in the same way, but they too had been a victim. So we learned to humanize them. It's like Betty and I ended up doing 2 different groups, and she had offenders and I had offenders, and you know, one of the things about Good Samaritan Ministries is we're a Christian organization, and just even this week I had a client say some swear word, and oh, I'm sorry, and you know, I'm always saying, I don't care. Sometimes that's our only way to express.
It's emotional language.
I don't have any other thing. I got to get those emotions out. As long as you're not saying it to me.
Right.
You know? So you can express it, but you can't use it.
Right.
So Betty and I never talked about this. This just happened one day in group. Sometimes things just happen, and one of the offenders was really struggling with where victims were and what we thought and things that were going on, and he was just better than, and I walked up to him and I got right in his face and I bent down and I said, do you want to know what victims want to say to you? Do you really want to know? And I said, don't say yes if that's not true. He said yes. And there were other abusers in the room. And I looked at him and I said, castrate, you bastard. And it got silent. And he began to heal. And at some point in time, almost every guy I would say that to, so that they could hear what's really coming up within. And I wasn't saying it to him, I'm saying this is how we feel. And so they all knew I too, Betty too, had been victimized.
Right.
And something that's very powerful, doesn't matter who you are, you too are an abuser.
Correct. We're all both.
We are both. And that was hard for people to swallow. Because they've operated in victim mentality, and we worked to bring out the victim mentality.
Right.
Powerful time.
Early in,